Call this meeting to order. Dr. Deegan, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Jester?
Here.
Ms. Ronio? Here. Ms. John?
Here.
Mr. Sharam?
Here.
Dr. Shue?
Item number 4, special guests and special recognitions.
We have none this evening.
Architect's report.
And we don't have an architect's report, but I can give a quick facilities update. Been to Freedom a couple times in the last week, and I shared a picture. We've got some good progress. They're actually starting to build classrooms. They've got the plumbing. They've got the pads ready to pour, both on the inside of the 53-foot tall hallway, and the 3 or 6 of the safe rooms right now. The walls are going up. The next stage will be the cafeteria in the big building. So it's pretty impressive. Things are going to be going very quickly from here on out. So I'm not an architect, but I couldn't help but take the chance to brag on the building. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
Great. Departmental report.
For the departmental report tonight, I have asked Teresa Jackson to come and share with us, and you can go ahead and come on up, Teresa. This year we have an implementation of a brand new law, the 3rd grade reading promotion. In order to go from 3rd grade to 4th grade this year, you have to pass the reading test. And so Teresa's she's over that program. She did an incredible amount of work to get us up to speed, but I'm going to steal some of her thunder if I don't stop. So
That's all right. Good evening. This law is known as the Senate Bill 346, 3rd grade graduation law. It requires schools in Oklahoma to retain 3rd grade students not reading at grade level. How does the law determine what is below grade level? It will be determined by the 3rd grade Oklahoma State Reading Test, known as the Oklahoma Common Core Test, that is administered in the spring. Students scoring unsatisfactory on this test in reading only, it has nothing to do with the math portion, only the reading, will be retained in the 3rd grade unless they meet one of the 6 good cause exemptions. The good cause exemptions will be covered at a later date. This law will affect 3rd graders beginning in the 2013-14 school year, which will be this spring. How does the law affect Lawton Public Schools? Based on the data from the 2012-2013 OCC test results, we tested 964 students, 3rd graders. 76 had unsatisfactory scores in reading. How have we prepared for this law? Well, all elementary administrators were provided professional development regarding the law in January of 2013. All elementary sites were provided the Read to Achieve brochure in English and Spanish, and that is this one. You each have a copy of it, to hand out to the 2nd grade parents at the closing of the 2012-2013 school year to inform them of what was going into effect. All elementary administrators were presented the 3rd grade graduation law information in July of 2013 as a refresher. All elementary administrators and K-3 teachers were provided an all-day, grade-level specific professional development covering the law and assessment training in August. All elementary administrators and K-3 teachers, again grade-specific, were provided professional development on response to intervention reading strategies in September. All Title I and Title VII personnel were provided professional development on the law and the response to intervention strategies in September as well. All 3rd grade teachers have been provided 3 half-day professional development trainings. We call those the Learning-Centered Instruction, and it focuses on reading strategies that they can use in their classrooms. 3 Lawton Public Schools instructional literacy coaches have been assigned to the elementary schools focusing on K-3 strategies, providing teachers with support in teaching strategies, assessment, and portfolio content checks. We also have added a special ed instructional literacy coach this year to go in and help the special ed teachers because of the OMAP will not be given again this year. Last year was its last year, so she's going in and helping those teachers with strategies. All sites have been provided the IRE parent brochure. That is this one. You also have a copy of it. And additional information for the education of the district's K-3 principals, or parents, rather. Each site is responsible for getting the information out through parent conferences, parent-teacher conferences, parent meetings, reading meetings, through Title I, reading nights, newsletters, however they want to get it out, and there's multiple ways they're responsible for that. We will be providing you additional information on this Senate bill at the beginning of each month at the school board meetings. So if you do have any questions about what I've told you tonight.
Didn't pass?
76. And we tested 964.
What are we doing about those students that did not pass?
They are given assessments, and we use Literacy First assessment here in Lawton, and that's giving at the beginning of the year. So that will show where they need remediation. Students that do not pass the areas of those tests are put on an academic progress plan known as the APP. It's presented to the parents, a remediation plan is developed at that time, and then they go in and they work. They have a 90-minute reading block that's uninterrupted that they go through, and they also may have small group, one-on-one, just different remediation techniques. They can go to the computer lab as an intervention. Now that cannot be during the 90-minute block, but it can be an add-on as an intervention.
Now, will they be tested again later? When will they be tested?
Yes, we give the Literacy First 3 times. We gave it at the beginning, we'll give it in December, and then again in April.
Okay, and then once they pass, then will they be moved on to 4th grade, or are they still moving on to 4th grade?
Third graders that score unsatisfactory will remain in the 3rd grade. Now, on the good cause exemptions that we will go over later, I will explain that at that time. If they could be passed on one of those, or they can take. We choose the ITBS test here in Lawton that we could give them.
And were all the students tested? How about our special needs? Are they in this category?
All of them will be tested with the exception of the portfolio, the OAP students. They are not affected by this.
Were there any special economic or socioeconomic groups that these students fell into, or were they just from everywhere?
From everywhere.
Okay.
I have one more question. Do you see any type of trend that in the testing that maybe something we might need to concentrate on more?
We are looking at areas of remediation, and honestly, I looked at, there's really not a trend.
Okay.
You can go per school, and it's different, throughout. We will address those that were lower in those areas, but then again, it's always the student and the test.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
Let me take a second to brag. Oh, you can go ahead and sit down, Ms. Jackson. She and her team have done, you'll not find a district in the state, I promise you, who has, they started last January preparing teachers and parents. They have set up, they have done everything they possibly can to get people ready, both the staff, the students, and the parents. And mind you, the 76 kids that she mentioned this year the law was not in effect. So those were 76. Those would be the 76 if it had been in effect for this year. So no students have been held back because of this test at this moment. And it's important that the preparation is so vital, because this will be the very first standardized test that these 3rd graders will have ever taken in their school career. And it will also be a high-stakes test, which will determine whether or not they graduate. So it is we take all of our mandates seriously, but we'll take none of them more serious and more preparation and more time than we have this one. So I just appreciate them, the whole department, and Dr. Polk and all of them. And so we're going to give you monthly updates on this one all the way through the year. So.
Thank you very much. Item 7, report of the superintendent.
Under item A of my report, I have consideration and action to acknowledge a written recommendation from the superintendent to the board to terminate the employment of Pamela Rodriguez as a counselor, and action to set a date, time, and place on the recommendation. And I'll recommend that we set the time for this hearing on November 21st after our regularly scheduled board meeting.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sharam.
Yes.
Dr. Schuett.
Yes.
Ms. John.
Yes.
Ms. Romeo.
Yes.
Mr. Jester.
Yes.
And on item B, not really an action, there's no action needed, but I wanted to give you a copy. You have a copy of a letter from the State Department. And the reason this is such a big deal, we are facing a teacher shortage in the state of Oklahoma. No place more evident than in Lawton. I mean, it is statewide. Everybody is struggling to find teachers. But I have to, the principals, Barbara Ellis' staff, have worked unbelievably hard all summer, recruiting, retaining. It's just amazing. And to have received this letter, which it says we're in compliance, that we have a fully highly qualified staff in Lawton Public Schools in a district this large and diverse, that is just amazing. And so our staff, our principals, everybody that's involved in that process deserves a huge pat on the back. So.
Great job, guys.
For item 7C, we had posted an addendum, and it was supposed to be a modification to the contract for deed for Country Club Heights, I believe. Fortunately, after that, we closed on that building, so that will no longer be needed.
Here's the check, Dr.
Correct.
It's not
Diane will
mailed
be
here, it's
looking for
not
that.
mailed
Where's
here.
Diane? She needs,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Very good. Item 8, any items need to be removed?
Nope.
I do not.
Move for approval.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Romeo.
Yes.
Ms. John.
Yes.
Dr. Schuett.
Yes.
Mr. Sharam.
Yes.
Mr. Jester.
Yes. Item 9, we have a proposed executive session. Have a motion?
Go into executive session.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Dr. Schuett. Yes. Ms. Romeo.
Yes.
Mr. Sharam.
Yes.
Ms. John.
Yes.
Mr. Jester.
Yes.